part of this is dreaming big, but part of it is actually creating an action plan for yourself that you can execute. It is the first of the month, which means if you're here, you are looking for an opportunity to reflect. In today's video, we are going to take some time for some reflection, some celebration, and some planning ahead. That is the structure that I use for my own reflection, also for the groups and the events that I lead. So if that's something that you're curious about, take a look at the description to find out what opportunities there are for upcoming events and conversations. For today's reflection exercise, grab a piece of paper, grab a notebook. I use my bullet journal where I have all of my years of self-work, but whatever works for you, all you need is paper and pen. And let's dive into today's reflection. The first step is to reflect. I love the beginning of the month because it's an opportunity to do something different. But before we do that different, before we make that change, it's really helpful for us to take a look back at where we've come from. So for today's reflection, I want to invite you to write one sentence for each week of the last month. If you want to take this a little bit deeper, you are welcome to do the whole year up until now, but let's start with one sentence per week for the last month. What does that mean? If you take a look back for each week, there's events that maybe happened, some emotion, but I want you to summarize that in one sentence. It can be a long sentence, but limit it to one sentence for each week. This forces us to choose the pieces that we want to highlight and the pieces that really impacted us the most. Some tools that are helpful for the reflection process are, I look back at my calendar to see what events I attended or was a part of, or meetings that I held. I look through my photo album on my phone to see who I was with and where I was and what I was doing. And sometimes I even look through my text messages to find out who was I having conversations with, what was really relevant for each week of my life. The next step is celebration. I feel like in our process of personal growth and wanting to be the best versions of ourselves, the piece that we often miss is the celebration. But it's so important to remember how far we've come and to celebrate the things that we've accomplished. So I want you to set a timer for 5 minutes and write down the things that you're grateful for, the things that you've accomplished, and the things that bring you joy. I want you to take the full 5 minutes. If you go over, that's okay, but don't stop writing for at least 5 minutes. And take that time to be a little selfish, be a little full of yourself. You are probably more deserving of more celebration than you let yourself realize. Once you are done with those full 5 minutes of reflection, take a moment and just read through them. Read them out loud. Sit in that joy and celebration because you deserve it. The last step is to plan ahead. Similar to how when we reflected back, we wrote one sentence for each week, we're going to do the same thing looking forward. For the next month, write one sentence that describes each week. It can be a long sentence. It could be something that you're wanting to accomplish. It could be an emotion. It could be an event that's happening that's going to be a highlight of the week. One full sentence for each week of the following month. When you write this sentence, make sure that it's in present tense. You're writing it as if this is what's happening right now. If you want an extra challenge, don't just look at the next month, but look at the rest of the year. Write a full sentence for each week for the rest of the year. When you are done with this reflection, you will have 4 sentences looking backwards as a reflection of what got you to where you are. My middle school English teacher would say a full paragraph describing where you were that got you to where you are. You're gonna have 4 sentences of where you are headed, where you are going. If you wanna take this practice a little bit deeper, take that forward motion plan, take those 4 sentences and start to write down some action steps. What are some things that you have to do in order to prepare yourself, in order to make those things happen? Because part of this is dreaming big, but part of it is actually creating an action plan for yourself that you can execute. That brings us to a close for this month's reflection. Let us know in the comments if you have any aha moments or discoveries. I love reading about those. And save this for next month or next year when you're wanting to do some more reflection. I do this often on my own, but I also love doing it with a friend or two because that reflection process and that conversation often allows us to go a little bit deeper. Every month is also a little bit different, so save the ones that you like, share the ones that you love, and keep coming back for more. Okay, we're gonna pretend that the lawnmower isn't going on. Thank you for taking the time to reflect and do this work. It isn't always easy in this journey of learning about ourselves and loving ourselves, but I want to applaud you for being here, for doing the work, and doing it with me. I'm in this journey as much as you are. I hope that you are loving who you are now, in this moment, in this reflection, and the person that you're growing into. Looking forward to more in the future.